Blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget Lars Larson this evening at 6. The Conservative Talk continues all day, all night long on KIDO Talk Radio. A few things going on. Don't forget Boise Music Festival just around the corner. Get your tickets and more details at KIDOTalkRadio.com. And the Treasure Valley God and Country Show after that. We get ready for the 4th of July, June 26th. Hard to believe so much going on here. So tough to keep up with. Joining us now is Raynard Jackson. He's the chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future. He's in Salt Lake City. Mr. Jackson, good morning.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Not bad. Your thoughts on being, about 4 or 5 hours from us. So far, so good there in Salt Lake?
Yeah, so far, so good. I love being out in Salt Lake, and I've been out to your beautiful state a couple of times, but never had a chance to just linger and explore the state. So maybe if I get your permission at some point over the summer, I can come fart around in Idaho.
Sir, you have an open invitation, no permission. We'd love to have you. We'll have you on and obviously talk about how we can improve America.
Yeah, no, I like that because your producer told me that the highest place on earth, Kevin, is at your feet.
Well, I don't know how I can top you, sir, on being, reciprocally humble on that, but I'll try. Before we get rolling here, your thoughts on America today when we're talking about can't we all get along, race relations, making our country better, sir?
Well, number one, there's no such thing as America anymore. And the reason I say that, Kevin, is there was a time when you said, I am an American, it was just automatically a given that you pledged your allegiance to the flag, that you were proud of our American history, that you spoke English. Now it's almost like saying, I am America. Within America is a pejorative term. So tell me what defines an American anymore, because if you say we speak English, others are going to say, well, you're xenophobic. If you say we rally around the flag, people are going to say, well, we are a murderous country founded in slavery and all that. So what is it? What does it mean to be American today, Kevin? We've lost that cohesiveness as a country and in a culture. So I would argue that I don't know if we have a country called America anymore.
Well, you're right, Mr. Jackson. You have people that, the identity politics, the ethnicity, everybody's a victim. Perhaps the younger people are united by their disgust for our great nation.
Well, put it to you this way, Kevin. When you say I am French, everyone knows you speak French. When you say I'm Brit, everyone knows you have certain cultures and values and norms, despite how your country may have been founded way back when. But in America, because we are a melting pot, people are forgetting to melt. And you got pockets in D.C., where I live at, where if you don't speak Spanish or Vietnamese, you cannot transact business. You cannot go to a restaurant and order food because no one in that community speaks English. That's crazy, Kevin. We are American. We are rallied behind the flag and the English language. And when you decide to become an American from another country, you give up your country and your heritage to become an American. We are the only country on earth that allows you to do that.
We continue on. Raynard Jackson joining us, founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future in Salt Lake City this weekend. You doing anything in Salt Lake in particular?
Well, yeah, I'm number one. A couple of a friend of mine's daughter is getting married, so I've known his daughter a while, so I had to come and support her. And then I'm out here raising money. We have a major event coming up in 3 weeks in D.C., Kevin, the largest gathering of minority entrepreneurs in the country, conservative entrepreneurs. And we just found out that we have the ability to televise this nationally on the major black cable network. And so I'm out here, raising money because I cannot let this opportunity pass us by to be able to have a 2-hour block of time, Kevin, where we're showcasing some of the most successful conservative black entrepreneurs in the country on national TV. That has never happened before and historic. And so we're out here just working our butts off because this is how we're going to make America great, by showing to the American people of all stripes, Kevin, that you can do anything you want in this country, and we have successful examples of that all across the country that nobody's highlighting. So we're going to be the first to highlight this nationally.
Well, we appreciate that, Mr. Jackson. So in other news, we were talking about this explosive story concerning Dr. King. Your thoughts on that? We talked a little bit about it. For people that aren't familiar with it, could you set the scene for us?
Well, yeah, there's a new book that came out that talked about the Dr. King and his dalliances with women, which, of course, we knew that. But I guess the explosive part of this new book is allegedly the Dr. King sat by, laughed, and I guess de facto participated in one of his fellow ministers raping a girl and having fun and laughing and joking about it. And so the argument goes, and I warned about this, Kevin, that if you want to remove the Confederate flag, Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, all these other Confederate names, because they didn't live up to the moral standards of America, how then can you not make the same argument about Martin Luther King and not demand that he be removed from the public square as well? I'm saying if you're going to be consistent, you can make that argument, and we have to listen to it. And remember, the foundation of liberalism is hypocrisy. They only want that standard applied to people that they disagree with. They don't want – where are these people about Harvey Weinstein? Where are the feminists about Harvey Weinstein? They have gotten laryngitis, Kevin. So we got to have one standard, and that standard has to be applied across the board.
I agree with you, Mr. Jackson, here. Raynard Jackson joining us, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Do you believe these charges against Dr. King? We know that all men, all women were not perfect, sir, but these FBI tapes and everything else, it's and that the FBI agents apparently stood by while this sexual assault, this rape happened. It hasn't been picked up by anybody. I mean, as an American, we've been taught about the sacrifices of Dr. King in the Birmingham jails and others. Your thoughts?
Well, a couple of things. I knew personally a lot of the people who marched with King and were his right-hand men, and there's some of them are still alive today, and I've talked with, I know the King family very well. I've never broached this subject. Obviously, that's a sensitive issue. But him, the Dr. King, and the women, I don't think anyone disputes that. But remember, this is the same J. Edgar Hoover and the same FBI that participated in the Tuskegee experiment. And for your audience that doesn't know about that, back in the 50s and 60s, this same FBI run by J. Edgar Hoover shot black soldiers with the syphilis virus and had them go back to their girlfriends and wives and have sex just to see how the black folks would react to this disease called syphilis. So it's not beyond the pale for the FBI to do illegal things like this. And I would go so far as to say, Kevin, I have some doubts about whether the audio tape of this alleged rape exists, and if so, how do we know that J. Edgar Hoover didn't fabricate the existence of these tapes? Because he has a history of making up things on his enemies. So that doesn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I think the bigger picture, Kevin, is we all are flawed people, and I think we need to judge a person by their total body of work, not them when they have a moment of weakness. So that's kind of my takeaway from this whole new revelation. And I think everyone would concede, Kevin, that Dr. King did more good than bad.
Indeed. And, again, we go back to judging folks. And you do have to take a look at J. Edgar Hoover and his motivations and everything else, Mr. Jackson. Again, it's when I read this story, and we talked a little bit about it here, very damning, very troubling to believe. But we take a look at America today, sir, and you talked a little bit earlier about this. We've got this situation where the NBA doesn't want to call owners. We have the Mark Stevens worth $2.3 billion. He shoves Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is a great guy, but now he's said he's a victim. The guy is banned. Can we ever just get back to what we talked about where, you appreciate me for me and I appreciate you for you? Or are we always going to look at somebody doesn't like me, it must be because I'm white, or because of something else, sir.
Well, hold on, Kevin. Let's go back a step further to your example with Kyle Lowry. Now, if this investor for the Golden State who pushed Kyle Lowry, if he were a conservative, the liberal media and the NBA would be talking about a hate crime because Kyle Lowry is black. The guy that pushed him is a white billionaire. So, again, you're seeing the hypocrisy of the media once again. Then I'm also working on a column I'm going to release probably next month. If you look at all the major sports franchises, NBA, NFL, hockey, etc., all these guys are professional liberal orthodoxies. All these guys promote liberalism. I was on I'm from St. Louis originally, and I watched the Blues hockey game last night. So I went on NHL.com last night. I was stunned, Kevin, when I went on the website. They're supporting Gay Pride Month on the NHL's website. I said, what about Christian Evangelical Night? What about National Day of Prayer Night and tie that into a hockey game? You never have seen a professional sports team or league do that on the conservative side. They're constantly promoting liberalism, and that's why their ratings are in the tanks all across the board.
Well, we've been talking about our own endorsement of the Pride Week here. What does that say that if you're not down with the Pride, then you're considered intolerant, Mr. Jackson?
Well, I think that's liberalism run amok, because what happens if you philosophically and from a religious point of view don't support that? Because, I make the argument, Kevin, and I graduated from Oral Roberts University. Homosexuality is not compatible with Christianity, and I will not bite my tongue on that, Kevin. And if you think I'm offensive, if you think I'm some bad person because that's what I view, so be it. But I'm not giving up my values to make you feel good. Period. Not going to happen.
Raynard Jackson joining us. Mr. Jackson, we hope you appreciate the Great Salt Lake. That's you've been there before. That's an interesting vibe there. You have people that are very conservative, and then you have people that are, on the other side. I don't know if you caught that show on CNN, United Shades of America, but that young man was there, and he was exploring the prominent LGBT community there. So you're going to have yourself busy while you're there for a wedding this weekend.
Oh, no question about it. And let me happily say, Kevin, the wedding is between a man and a woman.
If people want to get a hold of you, Mr. Jackson, what can they do?
Yeah, they can go to our website, blackamericans4a-better-future.org, BAFBF.org. Just Google my name, Raynard Jackson. All my websites, social media pop up, and would love to hear from any of your listeners, Kevin.
Well, Mr. Jackson, we'd love to see you in Idaho. Safe travels home.
And thank you so much. At any time, I'd love to be on your show again.
We'd love to have you back. Thank you, sir. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There we have it. Mr. Jackson, Raynard Jackson joining us in Salt Lake City with a message about tolerance. Is that possible to achieve anymore? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Patriot farmers, and now they're going to benefit like you. And remember this about the farmers. For 15 years, before I got here, everything was coming down. I think success should unite the country, but I will tell you, the more successful we become, the more angry people like Nancy Pelosi, who don't have what it takes, they don't know what's going on, they get angry.
There you have it, the president recently talking about Nancy Pelosi. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, taking your calls concerning tolerance. That's one issue. The other is the possible, inevitable, regrettable impeachment of President Donald John Trump.
I've tried to be nice to her because I would have liked to have gotten some deals done. She's incapable of doing deals. She's a nasty, vindictive, horrible person.
There we have it. Our man, Pro-Life, joins us now. Thanks for your patience on KIDO Talk Radio, your favorite radio station, Pro-Life.
Yeah, it is my favorite radio station. And, the word tolerance is a bad word because what it's saying is that you're tolerant of sin. You're tolerant of aberrant behavior. You're tolerant of not obeying natural law, God's law. And but we bought that. The problem with putting the the gay lights on the Capitol is that we've legalized homosexuality. We've legalized gay marriage. We've legalized baby murder. We've legalized theft. Socialism is theft through government. We've legalized adultery. We've legalized pornography. We've legalized all kinds of sick stuff. Okay, so then we have to tolerate that because we've legalized it. But we need to be intolerant, and we need to go back to God's law. And, you know, we had these Christian fellows on this morning that said that they don't care what people do in their bedrooms. Well, I do care. I don't want them doing perverted things in their bedrooms. And I don't want them eating sick, perverted food. And I don't want them throwing chemicals all over the earth and polluting the earth. I mean, we have to have some real common sense, and they're not having any. And so now we're upside down and backwards, and we're tolerating it. So I don't know what you think about that comment, but we're just a goofed up society.
Now, you'll be down. When is the gay parade? That's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tomorrow, I think.
All right.
So
You're going to be down there?
I'll be down there, and I'll tell them I love you so much that you need to repent and stop doing this crazy stuff.
Now, you've been threatened to been beat up before, haven't you?
Right.
And you're not worried about getting beat up tomorrow?
I don't know. Maybe I should be. But I love them enough to go down there anyway.
All right.
And, but, I mean, you know, I'd go down there if they had the adulterers parade, or if they have the candy eaters parade, I'd go down there with a sign that says, you might get diabetes and you'll have bad health.
Hey, that's hitting close to home. God bless you, pro-life. Traffic and weather together, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller in the morning. Let's go to Liberty Linda. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Good morning, Kevin. So help me God. The most sacred words of the oath of Congress has just been taken out by the elite Democrats. What do you think about that?
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it was reported on the news. It wasn't CNN I was listening to or some of the others.
Well, I haven't heard about that, but I have heard that the Pope is changing the words of the Our Father for all the Catholics. Now, if you're not a Catholic, it doesn't apply to you, but what's next?
Well, I had been a Catholic and went to that church for a while.
Right, but if the Pope told you something today, you wouldn't listen to him, would you? You'd say, you're not the boss of me, Pope.
No, I wouldn't. And especially, I haven't been really behind this Pope. Anyway, what's going on in our world? That's what I want to talk about. What is going on in our world? How can these things be going on? They want to take God out of everything, like what David was just talking about. Wow, what a great caller he was.
I would agree. Now, let me ask you a funny question today.
Oh, okay.
You remember the Village People, right?
Yeah.
You remember that, YMCA, you had the
New York, right?
What's that?
From New York?
Right. Remember the guys that you had, the construction worker, the biker, the guy in the police. I don't know if they had a fireman.
Yes, I can.
I'm trying to think if they were going to bring back, and the Village People, I guess, are still touring, although I don't think it's the original Village People anymore. What would they, I wonder what, I'm trying to think of what type of occupations there would be. Would it be, would you still have a policeman? Would you still have a construction worker? Would you still have a Native American?
You'd have someone that's tearing down our most sacred statues. You'd have some of the things that David was talking about. You'd have, what is it called, the LGBT? Anyway, you'd have a conglomeration of who knows what is what they would be. That's what you're trying to say, isn't it?
No, just there's no really ulterior motive to this. I was just wondering if the occupations would still be relevant today.
They would be changed, of course.
You'd have a guy behind a keyboard, probably
right.
Another guy telecommuting. I don't know, maybe a steward on the airplane.
We don't want to respect police officers anymore. You heard about the officer that, I guess I heard on your show that was told that he couldn't bring his gun into the establishment, which is absolutely crazy. You know, he's there to protect us. There's so many things going on that's just is making our mouth drop open, just like what I just said. You know, how can we let the Democrats take, so help me God, out of the oath of Congress? It doesn't make any sense. Our country was not founded on that. It was founded on God.
Liberty Linda, thank you. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Maggie. Rolling right along, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Eric in Nampa, thank you for your patience. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How you doing?
Living the dream, brother, and you?
Oh, not too bad. Hey, you were talking about tolerance earlier, and I don't know, for the last 5-10 years, we've heard this term, but it's only expected to be tolerant on the conservative side. Never, ever, ever, ever have I ever heard of or seen any capitulation towards tolerance from the liberals. Ever. Why? Is it because we as conservatives, especially up at Congress, have just caved and we've become so weak?
Well, we don't want to be offensive.
Well, you know, it's offensive to me, everything the liberals do to the conservatives.
Sure.
You know, pick something. You know, but we can't be offensive, but it's perfectly fine for them to offend me all day.
Well, you know, because they have been victims and we victimized them. And, you know, here's kind of a weird thing. And Eric, are you a big sports guy at all?
No, not so much. I don't have time for it.
I'm with you. You're paying your bills. So here's something. So you got two incidents happen recently. You got the guy who's worth $2.3 billion. So he's sitting at a game, an NBA player comes by, he pushes him. The NBA player, who's, you know, one of the most athletically gifted people in the world, says this guy should be thrown out. The guy is banned for a year and $500,000 fine. Okay, there we go. There's one. NBA owners don't want to be called owners anymore because it's racially offensive. Then you have Beyonce and her husband, Jay-Z, the white other owner of the Golden State Warriors, takes Jay-Z's drink order. And all of a sudden, this woman is condemned, getting death threats on Instagram because Jay-Z's wife, Beyonce, gave her the frumpy look. And you're thinking to yourself, what the blank is going on in our country today?
Yeah. You can't offend anyone. You know, I remember it wasn't that long ago where the idea was, welcome to America. You have the right to do whatever you want within reason of certain laws. But guess what? I also have the right to do what I want. And if that offends you, welcome to America. You have the right to be offended. Go away. Go cry in your own Cheerios. We don't care.
Well,
I want that America back.
Well, you know, it's funny. I agree with you, and it's unfortunate, Eric, that I don't know how you get it back.
I don't know. Thanks, Kevin. Keep doing all your good work.
Thank you, brother. Have a great day, Eric.
You too.
Bye-bye. Arvell in Fruitland, returning on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Arvell.
Good morning, Kevin. I want to draw a parallel with what happened in Sodom in the Bible with what's happening in Boise now. And you may recall there in Genesis 18 and 19 that God had sent two angels to Sodom to get Lot and his family out of the city. It was so wicked and open in their perversion. And the men of the city came, and they wanted to have relations with these two angels who appeared as men. And God protected them. But what happened there was that God finally decided that he had enough and destroyed the city. Now we're seeing what's happening in Boise, that they're being very open and bold, you know, in their perversion, and it's just getting more and more so. And finally, God will say, that's enough, and he'll take care of the problem. I'm not for coming against these people. I'm against their perversion, but I'm for sharing that there is a better way, and that is finding life in Jesus, and that's what I'm going to be about. It's unfortunate what's happening, but it's going to happen. I mean, that's just the digression that we're seeing in our world today. And we just need to keep sharing the truth as long as we're able to, and leave it in God's hands as to what he's going to do.
All right, Arvell, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Breaking story here. The state of Idaho, a KIDO Talk Radio exclusive. The state of Idaho suing Purdue Pharma says family has profited from the opioid crisis. Idaho's Attorney General, that would be Lawrence Wasden, has filed a lawsuit against Purdue Pharma and members of the Sackler family. The company's owners accusing them of profiting off the nationwide abuse epidemic. Apparently, according to other sources, ABC News reported that the Idaho Attorney General says that these folks mounted one of the deadliest marketing campaigns in history to urge doctors to prescribe opiates to patients despite the risks of addiction. The suit names 8 members of the Sackler family and mirrors efforts in other states to hold the company accountable. Now, when we take a look at the opioid crisis, Idaho, like many states hit by it, really what's the solution to it? What's the solution to the opioid crisis? Think about that at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And is it, do you applaud the state's decision to go after Big Pharma? And in reality, you had, what did you have? We reported on this a couple days ago that we had an Ohio doctor now charged with what, murder? Charged with murder for prescribing opioids? And people just going to their deaths because of this? And then what was it the other day? We were talking about a woman who put fentanyl in one of her drinks so her kid would get out of the way so she could go smoke marijuana? It just makes you wonder about this. And, maybe you've been impacted by this. And look, we talk about issues that impact our lives. And, you think about it, what really is the solution to this? Let's take a listen from ABC News. And it looks like we'll get to that in a minute. But again, thinking about this, Idaho is suing OxyContin maker. So this is about OxyContin. You're not going to hear this anywhere else, but they marketed it between 1999 and 2017. Idaho's opioid-related death nearly tripled. 4 years ago, in 2015 alone, approximately 1.3 million opioid prescriptions were written in Idaho, nearly one prescription for every man, woman, and child in the state. This crisis and its consequences could have and should have been avoided. Boy, this one hits home, doesn't it? Might be a little early for this at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Might have been a little early for this. But we have these states suing Big Pharma. Do you start suing your doctors? Were the doctors in on it? And then if we're turning on the doctors, the physicians, the medical people that are charged with restoring us to health, who can we trust? The lawyers? Boy, you talk about undermining the very fabric of our system. Earlier, we talked about that when you go to your doctor, your medical provider, or whomever, and they say, hey, are you depressed? Look, dude, I'm depressed all the time. I'm depressed about this. I'm depressed about that. And not to belittle people that are suffering from depression, but isn't depression natural? Isn't it okay to be depressed sometimes? You have your highest of highs, your lowest of lows. Now you need to be on the pills. I can remember many people in my life, maybe this is for you as well, you need to get on some medication. For what? For what? Have we decided that medicine is the great elixir of our times, not to be confused with the CBD oil or the marijuana or anything else? That we're going to sit back and say this, but think about this. Between 1999 and 2017, opioid deaths tripled in Idaho. And 4 years ago, in 2015, 1.3 million opioid prescriptions were written in Idaho. Again, that is the state population. So, okay, we're going to sue Big Pharma. Big Pharma gives Lawrence Wasden and the state a lot of money. What are they going to use that for? The roads? Everybody's impacted by this. The Boise Rescue Mission, the Interfaith Sanctuary, St. Vincent de Paul, people that, have lost people. We have heard their stories coming back from the heroin, the fentanyl. The president declaring this a national emergency. You have the Scripps News Agency giving us these stories of hope. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the solution is. Is it lawsuits? Big Pharma is going after the Gem State, saying, you're not the boss of us, Lawrence Wasden. Purdue Pharma vigorously denies the allegations contained in litigation against the company and will continue to defend itself against these misleading attacks. By the way, have you seen the ads where Sally had, or heard the ads, Sally had shoulder surgery? Sally, we're not going to give you painkillers. We're just going to let you rehab. Because they're addictive, Sally. We're finding this out just now. Our man, Doug, in Mountain Home with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin. Yeah, you're talking about the depression thing and the drugs, and I agree with you 100%. It's part of our body. I mean, we ain't supposed to be, biblically wise, God didn't give us a spirit to be afraid and depressed, but it happens, And what I'd like to say about it, it's been about, 3, 4, 5 years ago when who was in office, the one from South Africa, and they were pushing, right, because I'm VA, I'm a Vietnam vet, and that's what I have for insurance, and they're good, especially since Mr. Trump's been in. But anyway, they were trying to push, they're asking, are you depressed, blah, blah, this and that. And I got a little bit of a ticker problem. And this doctor kept trying to push depression drugs on me. And I went, no, I ain't depressed and I don't want the damn drugs. And finally, we had it out, and I told him, I said, you know what, and this is the truth, Kevin, you can look it up in the magazines, and maybe you already know, but when he was in office, Obama, they were trying to make it anybody that was on depression drugs, you couldn't own firearms. They were going to take your Second Amendment rights from you.
Well, and Doug, that's why I always wondered when they go, hey, are you depressed? Look, dude, we're depressed all the time. That's a natural occurring thing. And, any reason, you don't need to know about me. You talk about intrusive. Hey, what's your address? You don't need to know my address. You don't need to know my things. Are you going to give me a discount on the bill? No. Well, then mind your own business.
And what's really, to me, is really stupid is the way, I'll bet you, Kevin, I don't know, but I would just about bet my next Social Security check that I'll bet 95% of them people that are making them laws on us up there in Washington, D.C. are on depression drugs and every other kind of drug that you can think of. There was I'm not going to say no names, but there was a guy that I knew up on Prairie when I lived up on the Prairie, raising a family, and he worked for a lobbyist for a pharmaceutical company, and he got, rich. And he told me, he goes, you can't, right in Washington, D.C., and he said, you can't believe how corrupt that is up there. And he retired from up there being a pharmaceutical lobbyist, Kevin. So they don't care about me and you. They care about their money. And the same thing with what we're seeing of our representatives. Anyway, keep up the good work. I love the show. So
we love you, Brother Doug. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Our top story, the state of Idaho going after opioid maker Big Pharma, OxyContin. The Purdue Pharma executives firing back. Is this your idea of stopping the opioid crisis? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Still wondering if they were going to redo America's first boy band, the Village People. What occupations would they have today, and would it be the Village People? So would you have the women? Would you have people in transition, or would you just have the boys? And really, think about this. Shouldn't they have just called themselves the Village Men? Boy, talk about going off on a left turn. R&R joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. R&R, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Oh, so the first question on the agenda, let's see. Village People today would be, some of them definitely would be trans, in my opinion.
Well, you could, you would, since it's Village People, you could have the transitionals, you could have the women, you could have all sorts of people. I'm just wondering about the occupation. What would they be?
Oh, they would be high tech, a couple of them, and then one of them might be a news broadcaster. And you'd have to have somebody from The View, wouldn't you think? Whoopi would be a Village People. I don't know. Hey, it's good. I really enjoy hearing Sandoz step forward, and because I like their products a lot. Well, my talking point would be I gathered that perhaps there is some competition for mayor for Boise, and I'm thinking maybe Tess or Barb or some of those ladies that call in from time to time. I would love to see a new mayor that had the wherewithal to run and bring in some new insight and some Republican ideas and some. But Tess seems to be very well spoken.
I think and here's a fun fact. I don't know if there are conservatives left in Boise except Lee Joe and maybe a few others, but here's what needs to happen for Mayor Beard, who never met a ribbon cutting that he didn't like. And he cuts ribbon better than anybody else. And, he kisses up to the media that kisses up to him better than anyone else. Look, we can disagree with him. His family is well known within the city of Boise. They do good work. That doesn't mean we have to agree with them. You have to have two libs coming in, or at least one more lib. They split the lib vote, and you have a conservative or whomever coming in on the other side. So you have a Republican/conservative come in, the two libs cancel each other out, and boom, you have a Republican mayor of Boise. There could be, two or three people that think that the mayor is not liberal enough. And, critics and others say that's what happened in the gubernatorial race last year.
Oh, all right. Well, I appreciate the insight.
Well, in my previous life, I loved the politics more than most people love the sports, so.
I concur. Not more than you love dachshunds, though.
Oh, yes, dachshunds, and really, most of us do prefer animals to people. R&R, God bless.
Hey, thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, R&R. Seems he's at the I don't know, maybe he's ordering an Egg McMuffin, which isn't a bad thing, I guess. Traffic and weather together. Thank you, Larry. Coming up, the trials, the tribulations of Joseph Joey Biden.
Circumstances have changed. I've been working through the final details of my health care plan, like others in this race, and I've been struggling with the problems that Hyde now presents.
There we have it, the Hyde Amendment.
If I believe health care is a right, as I do, I can no longer support an amendment that makes that right dependent on someone's zip code.
Joe Biden, so much for mainstream Joe. The Hyde Amendment, coming up, why it's important, and we talk about its impact and its history. and why former Vice President Biden is giving us the great reversal on it. A lot going on today. Waking up on the right side. Thanks for being with us. More next. Good morning.